This is James Lupton for Round 8 Boxing, sponsored by Upton Clan Builders. I'm delighted to be joined with Nick Campbell today. Nick, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. I want to get you on today just to talk about, obviously, Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley. You've shared plenty of rounds with Joseph Parker, you know him very well. So I wanted to get you on to discuss that from a sparring partner's aspect, and obviously, you know what it's like yourself being a fighter also. Let's start off with obviously Fabio Wardley. We saw in his last fight, Justice Hooney, he was probably behind on the cards. He was getting outboxed, but he's got that power that can devastate anybody. He's got that stoppage against Hooney. Well, I say from the underdog perspective, really quite late on in the fight, round 10. What does Joe have to do to? Does he have to adjust anything in sparring firstly to accommodate that?
Listen, I think I definitely think Fabio's got the power, but one thing he's got plenty of dog in him. He really dug in that fight. Took a lot of punishment. He was getting beat up in parts of the fight, to be quite honest with you, completely outboxed, but showed real grit and determination. Like you said, he's got that one punch power that if he lands on you, he can change the outcome of the fight, and that's what he managed to do. But he wouldn't have been given the opportunity to do that if he hadn't had the grit and determination to stick in there with justice. So I think I admire Fabio Wardley, his background, where he's come from, what he's done with the limited experience that he has. And I think he really showcased his balls in that fight, to be honest with you. There's no doubting him after that. But going on to Joe, he's a different proposition. I think Justice Hooney is an incredible boxer, but doesn't probably have 10% of the experience that Joe has. Joe's done it all. He's former world champion, looking to become a two-time world champion, fought at the highest level. In his last three fights, he's had some real tough opposition. And Wilder, Zhang, and Bacoli. And he dispatched, or he done what he had to do, dispatch my Big Martin, but he done what he had to do in the other two fights. So I think this is a totally different fight for Fabio, something he's never faced before. Don't really think that he had much more time to have these learning fights. He'd done everything he could, to be honest with you. He's got to now test himself at the highest level and see if he's got what it takes. But I believe for Joe, he just needs to do the correct preparation that he has done for the last three fights. I think he said in one of his interviews, this is his Usyk. For the next fight, this is his Usyk. So, Joe's just going to prepare as he always does and expect the best Fabio Wardley on the night. And I think that Joe's experience, skill, and I think he also, if he lands as much on Fabio as Justice Hooney did, I don't think Fabio will still be there by the 10th round.
You mentioned Joe's just got to stick to his normal preparation, and obviously Fabio's got that power, but like you said, he's got that grit, determination, that heart, that dog in him. Are those things that you can't prepare for as an opponent?
Yeah, I think, listen, you've either got it or you don't. I think a lot of people don't ever find out if they do have it until they're put in that position as well. So, but listen, Joe's got plenty of grit and dog about him. I think I've obviously, paid a bit of respect and admiration for Fabio. But listen, Joe's a former world champion, been in some incredible fights. 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua. Although it's a different Joe now, showed plenty of grit and determination that night. Listen, I don't think there's any question on either man's character and how much determination and drive they have. So it's going to come down to who's the better fighter or the better boxer on the night, and I believe that's Joe. So time will tell.
How vital will Joe's experience be on the night?
Oh, massively. Listen, I think, like I say, Fabio's got limited well, I say he's got limited experience, not really limited anymore as a professional, but coming into his professional career, I think he only had, what was it, five or six white collar fights. So really, he's a complete novice turning professional, and he's like that. He's learning every time he steps in the ring, and he's done incredibly well, and he showed a lot of, like I've already said, grit and determination and punching power in his performances. So, but I think Joe's experience is tenfold of what Fabio's ever had, coming from a real good amateur into a professional former world champion. So, there's no doubt about it. Joe holds all the cards when it comes to experience.
Obviously, you've done some work with Joseph Parker. Just talk to me about his strengths in the gym. What stood out for you? What's his strongest weapon in his arsenal?
Belief. Really believes in himself, believes in the team that he's built around him, and George Lockhart and Andy Lee. And yeah, he genuinely, you ask him, if you got offered £10 million or a fight for the world title, what would you take? And the answer's the world title. That's what his mission is. He's not driven by money. Of course, listen, everybody's driven by money. We need it to exist, but his goal was to become a world champion. And he really strongly believes in everything that he's got around him. He's in an Ireland. He's got a great team around him. He brings the right people into the camp with him. He's got some great sparring in camp with him. So, I think his biggest strength is belief, and also he has the ability to back up that belief. Like I say, you've seen in his last six fights the changes that he's made since the Joe Joyce loss, and yeah, he's a different fighter now from the man he was when he was a world champion. And I think that he beats Fabio, and then he goes on to challenge Usyk after this.
Obviously, both men are on, good momentum. Are both big confident. I know Fabio's performance wasn't the best against Tony, but to pull that out in round 10 will surely give him a little bit of confidence heading into this fight as well. Um, do you think, in terms of Joe and the team with Andy Lee and the guys over there, they may try to play some mind games and psychologically take something away from Fabio before the fight?
Nah, listen, it's never been their style. They're good, honest men. They're there for a fight at the end of the day. I think there's always some element of mind games and the face-offs and at the weigh-ins and this happened and what gets said. But listen, nah, I don't think they'll be trying to play any mind games. I think they'll just be going out about their business as usual. And listen, Andy and Joel have worked on a game plan, as I'm sure Fabio and Ben have. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think as well, don't be under any. I think Fabio Wardley knows that he's in against a man with vastly more experience and probably a better fighter than him. So he's not going to come in there and try and outbox Joe, that's for sure. I think it's safe to say there's going to be fireworks, and I don't think he's arrogant. So him and Ben will have worked on a game plan to try and negate all the things that I'm saying Joe has advantages in. But like I've said, Andy is, in my opinion, right now, probably one of, if not the best coach in boxing. And they'll definitely have been working on a game plan. I don't know what that is. I seen Joe back in when was last August over at Paddy Donovan's fight. I seen him in the gym a little bit. He was looking really sharp, really fit. But that was literally just at the start of his camp. So I genuinely couldn't tell you any further into the game plan. But I know that him and Andy have definitely been working on one.
You mentioned a moment ago about Joe's belief and obviously building the right team around him and how vital that's been for him going forward. But in terms of his ability, was there anything that you noticed when you was in the gym with him that surprised you? Anything that's really underrated about Joe?
Yeah, God, anything that's really underrated about Joe. Do you know what I think? He's an incredible. He is a very powerful, powerful man, and he's really punching hard now. He's totally changed his physique. He's changed his fitness levels, and he's punching extremely hard now. And I think Joe might not have always been regarded as a knockout artist, but I think coming into this stage of his career, he could be with the power that he's hitting with. And listen, he's very coachable. He listens to everything Andy says and he adopts everything that Andy says. He goes and studies the sparring, studies training, looks to see what he's doing. So I think you can see how disciplined he is and what he's been taught and what they've worked on in the gym. And I think the discipline in the game plan will be shown Saturday night. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended in a stoppage for Joe. And like I've said, how hard I seen him punching in the gym in Belfast when I was over there to watch Paddy and we were in the gym together. I think you'll see that on the 25th.
Last question from me, Nick. Obviously, we mentioned Andy Lee and the new team around Joe and how much that has changed him as a fighter, and he's a completely new man, really, compared to when he's a world champion, which, if you think about it, is a scary prospect, really, when he was a world champion before what he is now. But I'm going to put you in Andy Lee's shoes for a moment. If you was advising Joe for this fight against Wardley, what would be the game plan in your opinion? What tactical keys would you give him? How to neutralize Fabio, for example, or when to press, when to box, what risks to avoid?
Yeah, I think being strict in his game plan, being strict in the boxing, winning the exchanges, having the best of the exchanges, being tactical, especially on the exit, because that's when he's going to be dangerous and catch him. So yeah, it would just to be to have the last say in every exchange and exit smartly and just break them down really. Use your experience, pressure them, keep them on the back foot. Pretty much what Justice done to him. Just pressured them, kept them on the back foot, constantly had the last say in every exchange, beat them up to a certain extent. And then, yeah, just be disciplined until that moment comes where you get them going a little bit. And then when that moment comes, grasp it, take it with two hands. So yeah, maybe it's a bit vague for anybody out there, but I just being extremely disciplined to the game plan, having the last say in every exchange, exiting smartly, and then whenever the opportunity comes, taking it and getting Fabio out of there. Because like we said, he is a dangerous puncher, and the longer he's in there, the longer he has the chance to land that one shot. Joe's got an incredible chin, but it's heavyweight boxing at the end of the day, and all it takes is one punch to change the momentum of a fight. So, yeah, that would be my final thoughts to Joe. Go and win every exchange, have the last say in every exchange, exit smartly, and whenever you get that opportunity to take the knockout, take it.
You say you have the last say on every exchange. A lot of times you hear people say, make sure you first be first. Is that necessarily important in boxing to be first?
Yeah, I mean, what the judges are going to remember is the last punch. They're not going to remember the first. You think about, I think having the last say in every exchange is probably more important than having the first say because you might land a great punch, but you might get countered. The judges are going to go, oh, great counter. They're not going to be like, oh, great punch. It's just a mindset thing. You might land two punches, then get countered with a haymaker, bang, and the crowd goes, whoa. Do you know what I mean? It's about the mindset for judges watching on and listening. These guys know a lot more about judging than me, but as a fighter, you always want to have the last say in any exchange, first and last if you can. But I definitely the last say at least. So yeah, no, being first is important, punch first, but having the final say in each exchange as well is just as equally important for me.
Perfect. Nick, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for joining me again.
No, no, listen, James, real pleasure. Hope everyone enjoys the fights.